his mind, who knows what goes on in that mind of his. It's just astonishing.
I always think my family are going to go, oh, God, you're crying again, which they often do.
1, 2, 3.
Get out of the way!
What the hell are you doing? Paige! Well, Runaway is a Harlan Coben show, so it's pretty relevant because he is incredibly relevant himself. He's a kind of a juggernaut, a global phenomenon. He creates these amazing stories, kind of ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances. And right from the off, you pay your money, you get in a roller coaster, and you head off on an 8-hour or an 8-episodic ride that kind of takes you in many twists and turns, shocks, thrills, and weaves these different strands somehow amazingly together by the end of it, with usually a rather shocking, at least one shocking twist.
I really need to speak to your daughter.
I don't know where she is. She's missing.
The incredible twists and turns that just are so signature to his writing, where you keep thinking you know where you're going, and then you do have to do a U-turn, or you go in a different direction. And the characters that are in there are a lot of them are, you know, just normal people living these really, put into these really unusual circumstances. His mind, who knows what goes on in that mind of his. It's just astonishing.
How did you find your character? Like, how did you prepare for this role? Is it for you just like a matter of working with the screenplay?
I mean, you know, I'm a parent. I'm a parent of girls, and so I was able to tap into. You're able to tap into that very easy because that's constant. It's there, and if you're playing, I mean, my girls are a bit older than the Paige character, but certainly that if you're struggling to find, you know, the kind of the real depth of the despair and all that, and hopefully the script will take you there, and hopefully that's your job, frankly, you know, and hopefully you're able to do it. But it would be a lie to say that in the past I haven't at times tapped into, you know, the reality of what my life is like.
But then, you know, acting is pretending, isn't it?
Aye.
Because I've never been a private investigator or a firearms officer.
Yeah.
But hopefully, it's about being able to really
Believable,
play
yeah.
the truth of it.
I'm afraid you need to leave. This is a crime scene.
I'm a PI, working with the police.
I'm Detective Fag Benley.
Well, costume's huge.
Yeah.
Costume's really huge. There's some great actor said that, you know, he always started with the shoes, get the shoes right, you know, and because then that informs in a way the way you walk and how you are and blah, blah, blah. So I think costume is really important.
I started with the glasses.
Oh, aye, that was a big mistake. Yeah, like every cameraman's nightmare.
For me, when I read a script for the first time, you can sort of pretty much tell within a couple of pages whether, like, if the dialogue speaks to you and you just go, oh yeah, this is really good writing. When I meet my character for the first time and she's stealing a dog from a park, I go, that's really weird and unusual. And it just automatically made me want to know, because I mean, I'll be completely honest, I wanted to know what my character was going to be like in it. I knew that she was a former firearms officer who'd become a private investigator, and so on paper that could sound like quite dry. And I was thinking, really, are they thinking of me for this? Is this? And then I could sort of understand why, because she does have a quirkiness to her. Jimmy's saying about the different departments. Of course, you see the actors on stage and you see the way it's been shot, but the work that goes in from the team to make it look like that is astonishing. So, you know, the costume department, for example, on this, they were thinking so carefully about, like, I can only speak for say my character, my experience when I went for my costume fitting. I thought, oh my gosh, you really thought this through. And those things are really important, and sometimes they're things that are not, that are taken for granted on screen, but they do add to that whole mise en scène.
We tell our kids not to trust strangers, and look at us.
Who said I trust you?
What attracts you to it is, you know, with a character like I was playing, that, you know, you're going to be asked to, you know, do your job. I mean, that's the privilege of the job, is to be taken in, kind of taken dark places and kind of be in the moment in what are terrible moments. I think I read the book when I knew I was going to do it, And then, I think that's what I did. And then, yes, and then you're just hoping that the screenplay is a good adaptation of what's in the book, because the book is just so thrilling. But, you know, Danny Brocklehurst, who's the lead writer, is well experienced now in knowing how to adapt Harlan's writing. He's very good, as are the other writers. So, you know, the team that make these shows understands each and all their own responsibility towards collaborating and making it as good as it can be.
When you read the screenplay, were there any scenes that you were dreading from the beginning to
Night shoots.
to film?
I always go through it to see the night shoots.
Yeah.
I mean, oh man, I'm going to be freezing during that. I'm just going to be, and then also blood, you know, and I kind of say, oh God, I'm going to be covered in freezing cold blood dripping down the inside of me and all that kind of stuff. The first day of it, we were filming in Saddleworth Moor, and it was in January, and it was bitterly cold. It's the coldest I've ever known, and I've filmed, you know, some really very challenging shows in terrible kind of conditions, but that was just awful. And that's day one. You kind of think, God.
I was dreading the
Oh, the firearms.
the firearms and the drug raid. Just, I don't know. I had a bad knee and.
Also, you look at quite a lot of times. You kind of go, oh God. Simon's crying there. He's crying there. I always think my family are going to go, oh God, you're crying again, which they often do.
Paige. It's Dad. No, what? Paige?
Let go of me!
Did you have any like favorite experiences on set of Runaway?
Well, we had fun together, didn't we?
Yeah, we did actually.
We were really
because I do love. I'm really childish. I'm not very professional, to be honest, and I just really love messing about.
Well, I know exactly. It was funny. It was really fun.
So, and sometimes I think you need that a little bit on set because you
Yeah.
need to, when it's kind of dark like this, you need to be able to have a little outlet of fun.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite like thriller TV shows or films that are like a missing person's case? Like,
Well, there's a tremendous show called The Missing one time, starring... oh, yeah, it was me, wasn't it? Yeah. But there was that series where someone's missing every week. But yeah, I mean, I think it's such a good conceit, you know, because it's everyone's worst nightmare. Every kind of parent's worst nightmare, the idea of a child disappearing or being missing or a loved one or whatever.
Paige couldn't have done this.
No, but you could have. You know, something like Line of Duty just used to keep me on the edge every time. There's something so satisfying about a cliffhanger at the end of an episode, which there are so many in this series, and will be really a real joy for people to watch. If you're a fan of thrillers, I just think it's real edge of the seat stuff.